Welcome to the NCWLIFE Channel Spotlight on Business. I'm Eric Granstrom. Today we're here at the YWCA of North Central Washington. Now, you probably wouldn't think of that as a business necessarily, but they're certainly in the business of helping those in North Central Washington, including women and children and some men here at the YWCA for more than 70 years. We're going to talk with their CEO, Jenny Pratt, about doing business, of helping others, and what the plans might be for the future. It's right here on Spotlight on Business on the NCWLIFE Channel.
Jenny Pratt. I'm the CEO of the YWCA in North Central Washington. There's a lot of personal passion, of my own ethical and moral values that are instilled here in the YWCA of, being a good neighbor, of being a good person, the golden rule. All of those things I find weaved in and out of the mission of the YWCA. So I think that is one of the things that definitely keeps me here and has kept me interested. There's always a lot of work to be done in the areas that we serve.
Incorporated in 1957, the YWCA has always operated out of the building located on 1st Street and Chelan Avenue to serve North Central Washington in a wide variety of ways.
So for our community, YWCA does critical services, and so we serve homeless and low-income folks primarily through homeless housing, emergency shelter, transitional housing. Permanent supportive housing is a newer program that we offer, but it's a very useful and good program. We do outside case management to folks that aren't living or residing at YWCA locations. We contract with landlords to offer master leasing, which is in essence property management services, and then we manage those properties and the residents that go in there. We do job training and a whole lot of other things.
The YWCA works to make strides in addressing homelessness locally.
Well, YWCA is part of the Community Housing Network, which is a network of service providers in our community that do a variety of things, but we all coordinate what it is that we do through a statewide homeless accounting system, if you will, to account for all of the homeless and what services that they're receiving, and then all the data and numbers is collected by the state, and funding comes to the community through those numbers that are collected through the annual point-in-time count in January. There is quite a couple of years ago, we were definitely seeing the height of our homeless epidemic. This year, it's slightly better than it was last year. And so we still have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of homeless folks. We still have a deficit in low-income housing and housing services for low-income and homeless individuals.
Jenny says working one day at a time, the organization operates with a board of directors, 12 full-time employees, and 5 part-timers.
We're in the process now of adding another facility. And, it's been a shining example of having board members come to the table, gather together, and work towards a common goal of getting more housing for the women and children that we serve. One of the things that has changed in housing is we used to just bring them into the shelter and then try to make plans for them to go to transitional housing, and that was our part. And today, we're looking at folks that walk in the door to see if there's a way they can go to permanent housing right off the bat before they come into shelter, or before their 90 days in shelter are up, or right away when they're in transitional housing. It's more about getting people moving to permanent houses and then to support them once they're there.
Nearly half of the YWCA budget is funded by grants and foundations, and the organization fills the gap with earned income, fundraisers, and private donors. Women and children are the primary focus for the YWCA, but some men can be housed in individual units. Jenny says some of those they serve come with multiple barriers that prevent them from finding permanent housing.
When they come here, many times it's on the day that they might count among their worst. Some come, they don't have anything but maybe a bag or maybe just the clothes on their back. And so by coming here, they're admitting that they need help. Several years back, if you couldn't pass a UA, you couldn't come to the YWCA in any of the housing programs. And we have since forgone that policy. We do not drug test individuals when they come in to our shelter or transitional housing. We rather manage on behaviors. And when we made that change, it was a big thing, a big pivot in thinking, because we were always thinking about keeping our other individuals safe, but by doing that, we were eliminating individuals who really had the chance to come in and have a place and then to change their behavior and move forward from that. And so it really didn't happen like we thought. We thought we'd have a bunch of problems, and it really didn't change anything. And in the process, I know that we've saved lives. You can't say anything more about that. And I could tell you stories of times where lives weren't saved.
Jenny says the YWCA's #1 item on its strategic plan is providing more permanent housing to its clients in the greater Wenatchee area. When an individual or family comes to the YWCA for help in housing, their organization works to assess their situation and identify their barriers. After the assessment, staff identifies immediate needs such as food and clothing or finding work. Housing specialists assign the client to a bed in one of their shelters. Clients have 90 days in shelter before they have to move, something Jenny says has changed the tone in how they address needs.
Now it's business. We need to get to the point and do the work, help them identify what it is that they need to do so they can move forward, because 90 days is not very long. It's gone in a flash of a second, and then they do have to move. It's a guideline with funders that it's 90 days, and so you can't wait till 60 to start talking about it.
Branching out into social justice and expanding its reach and their ability to create change locally, Jenny says it's her ability to work with a crew of people who make positive changes in her community that keeps her coming back every day.
And I also mentioned about, this is just in my core as far as being a good person, operating by the golden rule. I think for me, it has what I need to offer good things, assume the best of people, and what more could somebody want in a career?
Tennis, anyone? We're here at Harmony Meadows on this Spotlight on Business to talk with Jacquelyn Jaech, the owner and visionary for what is tennis, but so much more here at Harmony Meadows just outside of Manson. We're going to talk about converting this from Banjo Creek Farms to what it is today, talk about their future, and also talk about the other things that are here besides tennis, including the Loveall Cafe. It's all right here on Spotlight on Business on the NCWLIFE channel.
I'm Jacquelyn Jaech at Harmony Meadows Tennis and Event Center. We bought the property in 2015, and we were just going to build a indoor court for myself and a couple outdoor courts so we could share it with our friends. And we started working with the county and started talking to some members of the community, and some of the members were looking for a community center. But I wasn't really interested in all the basketball and swimming and all of those other things. My main passion was tennis. So we started looking into seeing what it would take to build an actual little tennis center. And it really grew pretty quickly. And we found out with the county that none of the buildings that were on property were permitted. So we needed to redo all of the buildings on property. So if we were going to put that kind of investment into it, we thought, well, what would be a good economic driver for the community, be a resource for the community, but also fulfill what our passion was, which is tennis.
Jacquelyn says the name of the center was inspired from their home in Manson, which they called Harmony. The house featured earth, water, wind, and fire.
This area, this valley is beautiful. It has all of those elements that are really beautiful. Sometimes the fire we don't want, but we just try to maintain it in the fire pit. Let's keep it there. But having that, kind of that ideal of having harmony, and having that as an experience and having that as a philosophy was really important to us. And then we have meadows. We have the 3 meadows out front. We have the large meadow where people get married. We have the meadows over, over by the gazebo. And then we have meadows that we haven't even developed yet. So it's just a big, expansive green space that just really made sense to us, that it's like we want this to be serene and calm and just a sense of escape. We wanted to have the white and the barn and the classic architectural integrity of the valley. To put up something that was, a big castle wouldn't really fit here, right? So we wanted to be timeless. The cabins that we're building in our next phase will be like little picker cabins. We wanted to feel part of the valley and just kind of blend in with the valley, as opposed to being something that just didn't fit naturally into the landscape. It's so funny. I mean, with all the dogs running around and the white buildings, we've had more than one person tell us, I think this is what heaven looks like.
At Harmony Meadows Tennis and Event Center, the public can experience the same surface as the pros.
We made it the best tennis experience possible. We have the only public courts in all of the West Coast that have the same surface that the professionals play on. And it's open to the public, which is a big deal for tennis enthusiasts. We have people coming now from all over the country that are coming out specifically for that tennis experience. So that's kind of unique. And then the weddings, people who are looking for beautiful grounds. This is, again, another destination resort that has the grounds to do something like that. So our long-term goal is to turn this into a full resort.
The grounds also feature a cafe with fresh local products that is open to the public daily.
What a lot of people come out to experience Harmony Meadows is to come out to the Loveall Cafe. Now, we called it the Loveall Cafe because it's where the tennis game starts. It's at a score of love all. So when you start at Loveall Cafe, it's kind of your nice place to start. So you could come out for a nice, quiet espresso or smoothie. We have some toasts that you could have in the morning. And it's a really quiet, beautiful place to bring your guests, bring your family. We have the Loveall Cafe offers a lot of local products, and it's all kind of a fresh, healthy menu. But it's also a good place. You can come and pack a picnic and grab one of our picnic blankets, a picnic basket, and we'll just set you out somewhere on property and you can have a really nice, lovely experience. But the Loveall Cafe is a really nice way for you to come and enjoy the property, whether it's coming out for a glass of wine or coming out for your morning espresso. We have someone who'll come out and knit. Just comes out and knits and enjoys our coffee, and just is like, we really enjoy the serenity of Harmony Meadows.
Not only hosting pickleball and tennis tournaments and classes, Harmony Meadows is open to events like weddings or corporate getaways with a full range of serene accommodations.
So we have an event hall that's 6,000 square feet. So we host weddings and corporate events and family events, private parties. We've held special occasion birthday parties we have our accommodations. We have the Hayloft Suite, which sleeps 8. It's got 2 full baths. It's got 3 little kind of nooks inside, which is a really cozy, fun feeling. The cottage has 3 individual suites. It has a beautiful back porch. We've hosted family dinners out there. We've done small, intimate family feasts out there where people come out and enjoy the property, where they come and stay on property, which is kind of a fun thing to do. But really, the public spaces are coming out, playing the tennis. We set out lawn games during the day so kids can come. I mean, there's a very expansive lawn here that kids will run, dogs come out. We're very dog friendly, obviously. But we just kind of keep it so that it's open for everyone, so you can come out and just bring your whole family and experience the property.
Memberships are available for pickleball and tennis, but at Harmony Meadows, anyone is welcome to come out and play with or without that membership. Developing this serene property nestled in the Manson Valley and fulfilling her passion for tennis, Jacquelyn says hosting events and helping make memories is what makes her happiest at the end of the day.
We've loved this property for 20 years. So when it came for sale, I couldn't wait to jump on it because it is a really serene, like kind of hidden gem in the community. Come and experience what this really beautiful environment is, whether it's just for a cup of coffee or come and play in some cornhole, or checking out what pickleball is all about, taking a pickleball class, taking a tennis 101 class. Just come out and experience this beautiful property. I went home the other day after a tournament, and this family took their picture of their pickleball bracket, and I went home and I was just like, I'm so glad that I could create a memory for people. And I just think having that, they'll cherish that memory. They can't wait to come back again next year. It's having those family memories. Kids grow up so fast, and it's so hard to keep families together. So having that was very fulfilling, and it just felt so good knowing that they have a memorable experience.
Welcome to the Spotlight on Business here on the NCWLIFE channel. I'm Eric Granstrom. Now, I'm old enough to remember the verbiage of dropping vinyl as it being regarding records and music. Vinyl today has a whole different meaning, especially when it comes to fencing, pergolas, things like that. Today on Spotlight on Business, we're going to speak with Ralph Sorensen. We're going to head up the Antioch Valley and visit with Ralph on his place where he has been doing business for quite a while here in North Central Washington, not just providing fencing, but so much more. How in the world does a guy go from building blowers in Illinois to fencing here in North Central Washington? We're going to get his story next on the Spotlight on Business.
My name is Ralph Sorensen, and I own Homestead Vinyl Products, LLC, here in Antioch, Washington.
Ralph wasn't always based in Antioch. Originally a welder in Illinois, he worked on industrial blowers before getting into the design work after he had a disc removed from his back. Ralph says his employer took a chance and trained him on the computer.
And I said, okay, how do you start this thing? I know how to do a welder really well, but I don't know a thing about this. And so the guy got me started on it, and he said basically draw a line, draw a circle, and play with it. So I did that for about 3 or 4 hours, and I said, okay, so give me something real to draw. And he handed me a drawing that was already drawn. He said, just copy that, we'll practice that way. So in 3 weeks, I had a complete set of drawings going out to the shop for these blowers to be built that we made. And the only thing I did was I scaled my customer drawing wrong. There was a little dot in the middle of the computer screen, and I said, what's this? He goes, I don't know, what is it? So he brings it up full scale, and he said, had we built that blower to that scale, it would have been 11 miles high, 7 miles wide, and the whole blower is just really small. But he laughed, and he said, yeah, I don't care how many mistakes you make as long as you learn by them. And he was just a great guy to work with.
In 1995, Ralph and his wife visited family in Kashmir and fell in love.
The weather, the mountains, we didn't have this back in Illinois, so we have a lot of humidity back there. In fact, when we moved here, it was in January, and it was 17 below, 70 below wind chill when we were packing a moving van. So it's like, I'm clever going, I sent out 1,500 resumes for a CAD position, and I got a lot of thanks, but no thanks responses. So I basically came out here and knocked on doors and drove all over the state basically looking for work, and found a shop supervisor job in South Wenatchee.
Ralph says he was eventually laid off from his job in South Wenatchee, which ended up being a godsend, he says, because during his shift at his new job at Lowe's, a customer made him a job offer.
A gentleman came in there one day, and he said, he was asking me about all the tools, and I was explaining what this one does, what that one does, because I've worked with tools all my life. And the second time he came in, he said, okay, I'm ready to buy. And I said, okay. So he said to me, you don't seem like you fit here. And I said, I don't. What do you got in mind? And he goes, I work with vinyl. And I'm thinking, flooring? Nah, I don't want to be on my knees. So then he said he did vinyl fencing and fabricated it. And he wanted to know if I could run his computer router. And so I went over there and for an interview, and I set it up and routed with it. And he hired me on the spot. That company didn't do so well, and I worked for another fencing company for a while, and they decided, the gentleman asked me if I'd like to start my own business, and I said sure. And so I basically came here and got my business license and got a few jobs under my belt and started installing fencing. In fact, my wife and I both started the business. She would go out and dig holes and right along with me, carry the concrete, the whole thing. We did that for a few years until I was able to hire people to do that, give her a little break. So.
Homestead Vinyl LLC manufactures, sells, and installs vinyl fencing, as well as cedar ornamental fencing and chain link. Why Homestead Vinyl? That's a name Ralph brought from Illinois. When
I moved out here, I brought 11 live beehives with me, and I would sell the honey as Honeybee Homestead, is what my label was, and I just made it up. And so I didn't have the bees anymore, but I stayed with the homestead theme because I think we're a little bit rustic out here, and so I just stuck with that.
Ralph is able to do all the programming and routering for custom projects himself right at his shop in Entiat, saving his customers quite a bit of money. Ralph explains how he is able to do this process himself on his 4-bay CNC machine.
So it's basically a big cutting machine. We route all our posts here. We make all our rails here. I can do 16 rails at a time in the machine. Basically, I stack, say I'm doing a picket fence, I can stack 4 rails in each bay, and it'll route 8 rails at a time. So it'll route 2 bays at a time.
Offering a lifetime warranty on his work, Ralph says he loves how creative he can get with custom projects. He even creates custom furniture and decor from recycled fence material. We actually did this interview under a custom pergola he designed himself, with other structures sprinkled throughout his property.
It's fun. I like doing it because I can offer more custom things as well. Everybody has an idea of what they want for a fence. They see something in a magazine or something, and can you duplicate this? I think we can. I mean, it's just a matter of doing the CAD work, the CAD layout first, and then writing the program for it. So, I mean, I've made Adirondack chairs. I've made a lot of different things just by playing with the machine. So. All the pergolas we do are all custom designed. Because not everybody has the same size house, not the same size deck, the porch, or whatever. And so I go out and I customize it, custom design it. And I've got that trellis out there that I made. It's custom designed. I thought, well, we can bend those pieces to get them in there, offset routes and whatever we have to do. So, yeah, I love to do it.
Ralph says he's not planning on retiring for a while because he loves the joy he can bring to his customers' homes and yards.
I love to put a fence in, say, for someone, and we get all the posts set. We maybe put the bottom rail in, and I invite them out, grab, sit in your lawn chair, now watch. And as we put the panels in, it's just, they're amazed. I mean, because I've had ladies tell me, hey, I've got a yard now. I can see my flowers. I have dimension. And plants, flowers, things like that will just stand up against it like really, really pretty. So that puts a smile on my face.
Ralph says anyone who's interested in learning more about his business or checking out some samples of his work should give him a call and stop by his showroom in Entiat, right across from the Shell station on 97A.